Starting at level 1, we have the misunderstood Grump. These aren't really villains at all. They're just characters who've lost their Christmas spirit and need a gentle reminder of what the season is about. The perfect example is Ebenezer Scrooge from any adaptation of A Christmas Carol. Scrooge isn't evil. He's hurt, lonely, and has built walls around his heart. His villainy comes from selfishness and isolation, not malice. What makes level 1 villains work is their relatability. We've all had moments where we felt overwhelmed by holiday expectations or bitter about past disappointments. Scrooge's journey from miser to benefactor isn't just heartwarming, it's aspirational. The key characteristic of level 1 villains is that they want to be saved. Deep down, they're crying out for connection and meaning. They don't need to be defeated, they need to be redeemed. And when they are, it feels earned because we understand their pain. These villains teach us that sometimes the person who seems the most against Christmas is actually the one who needs it the most. Level 2 brings us that annoying petty antagonist. These villains have legitimate grievances but handle them in childish, selfish ways. They're not trying to destroy Christmas, they just want things to go their way. Think of Cousin Mel from Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. She's not some supernatural threat. She's just a greedy relative who wants to sell the family store. Her methods are underhanded, but her motivation is purely personal gain. Another great example is Professor Hinkle from Frosty the Snowman. He's a failed magician who just wants his magic hat back. Sure, he's willing to melt Frosty to get it back, but it's not because he hates Christmas. He's just selfish and desperate. Level 2 villains are frustrating because they're so human. They make bad choices for understandable reasons, but they lack the self-awareness to see how their actions affect others. They're the holiday equivalent of that relative who always starts drama at the family dinner. What separates them from level 1 is that they're actively choosing to be antagonistic rather than just being grumpy or withdrawn. Level 3 introduces the authority figure, villains who use their position of power to suppress Christmas joy, usually in the name of order, safety, or tradition. Burgermeister Meisterburger from Santa Claus is Coming to Town is the perfect example. After a traumatic experience with a toy, he bans all toys from Somber Town. He's not evil, he genuinely believes he's protecting his citizens. But his rigid, fear-based approach makes him an obstacle to Christmas magic. These villains represent the adult world's tendency to overcomplicate and overregulate childhood wonder. They're the principals who cancel Christmas plays, the mayors who ban Christmas decorations, the officials who prioritize rules over joy. What makes level 3 villains compelling is that they often have a point. Safety regulations exist for a reason. Order prevents chaos, but they've lost sight of the balance between protection and freedom, between structure and spontaneity. The tragedy of level 3 villains is that they usually started with good intentions. They wanted to help, but somewhere along the way they became so focused on control that they forgot what they were trying to protect. Level 4 brings us to the Christmas thief, villains who actively try to steal, stop, or ruin Christmas, but for personal rather than malicious reasons. The Grinch is the ultimate level 4 villain. He doesn't want to destroy Christmas because he's evil. He wants to stop it because it makes him feel excluded and different. His plan to steal Christmas comes from pain, not malice. What's brilliant about the Grinch is that his method reveals his misunderstanding. He thinks Christmas comes from stuff, presents, decorations, feasts. When he discovers that the Who still celebrate without these things, he realizes Christmas comes from something deeper. Level 4 villains are defined by their fundamental misunderstanding of what Christmas represents. They focus on the external trappings while missing the internal meaning. They're not trying to hurt people, they just want their own pain to stop. The redemption of level 4 villains is always powerful because it involves a genuine revelation. They don't just change their behavior, they change their understanding. The Grinch's heart growing 3 sizes isn't just metaphorical, it represents his expanded capacity for love and connection. These villains remind us that sometimes the people who seem most opposed to Christmas are actually the ones who need its message of love and acceptance the most. Level 5 escalates to the supernatural threat, villains with otherworldly powers who pose genuine danger to Christmas and everyone celebrating it. Jack Skellington from The Nightmare Before Christmas fits here perfectly. While his intentions aren't malicious, he's just bored with Halloween and fascinated by Christmas. His actions create real terror. His version of Christmas involves shrunken heads and killer toys. What makes level 5 villains dangerous is their power combined with their disconnect from human values. Jack doesn't understand that his improvements to Christmas are actually horrifying because he comes from a world where fear is fun. The Miser brothers from The Year Without a Santa Claus also fit this level. They control weather itself, and their sibling rivalry threatens to prevent Christmas entirely. They're not evil, but their supernatural abilities make their petty disputes genuinely threatening. Level 5 villains represent the idea that good intentions without understanding can be just as dangerous as malicious ones. They have the power to reshape reality, but they lack the wisdom to use that power responsibly. The resolution usually involves helping these villains understand the consequences of their actions and finding a way for their powers to serve rather than threaten the Christmas spirit. Level 6 brings us to the Malicious Destroyer. Villains who want to eliminate Christmas not from misunderstanding or personal gain, but from genuine malice and a desire to spread misery. Oogie Boogie from The Nightmare Before Christmas exemplifies this level. Unlike Jack, who means well, Oogie Boogie is a sadistic psychopath who enjoys causing pain and fear. He kidnaps Santa not to improve Christmas, but to torture him for fun. Robot Santa from Futurama also fits here, a malfunctioning AI that has decided almost everyone is naughty and deserves death. There's no reasoning with him, no redemption arc possible. He's a pure threat that must be stopped. Level 6 villains represent the antithesis of Christmas values. Where Christmas promotes love, they spread hate. Where Christmas encourages giving, they take everything. Where Christmas brings people together, they isolate and terrorize. What makes these villains truly terrifying is their competence. Unlike lower-level villains who are often bumbling or misguided, Level 6 villains are effective at what they do. They pose real immediate danger to our heroes and to Christmas itself. The only way to deal with Level 6 villains is through direct confrontation. They can't be reasoned with or redeemed. They must be defeated. But even in defeat, they serve a purpose. They make us appreciate the light by showing us the darkness. Finally, Level 7, the Apocalyptic Force. These aren't just villains who want to ruin Christmas. They represent existential threats to the very concepts that Christmas embodies: hope, love, family, and joy. Krampus from the 2015 film represents this level perfectly. He's not just punishing naughty children, he's the embodiment of what happens when Christmas spirit dies completely. He doesn't just steal presents, he drags people into a hellish dimension where Christmas never existed. Pitch Black from Rise of the Guardians also fits here. He wants to eliminate all childhood wonder and belief, replacing dreams with nightmares. If he succeeds, not just Christmas, but all sources of joy and hope disappear forever. Level 7 villains are forces of nature rather than characters with motivations we can't understand. They represent the complete absence of everything Christmas stands for. They're not trying to improve things or get revenge. They want to unmake the very foundations of happiness and connection. Fighting Level 7 villains requires more than just defeating them. It requires actively choosing to believe in and embody the values they're trying to destroy. The real battle isn't physical, it's spiritual and emotional.